Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with the final episode of Sherlock. For now, I guess. Yeah, this is it. This is the final episode to have been released. I believe people have said that it's entirely possible for them to make a 5th season of Sherlock. It's just that they haven't done it yet, so... but yeah, so far, this is the final episode. Maybe not a proper series finale, but the final episode, at least of this season, and for a little while. So yeah, last time on Sherlock, we had The Lying Detective, where Sherlock Holmes was off his tits for weeks, and accused a prominent man named Culverton Smith of being a serial killer. Which he was completely right. But the entire reason that he went and picked a fight with Culverton Smith was honestly not because he was a serial killer, although that did help. It was mostly so that he could put himself into harm's way in order for John to save him, because if John saves someone, that in turn saves John. And they both came to terms with the fact that Sherlock was not responsible for Mary's death. You know, she was the one who jumped in front of that bullet. So yeah, it was all pretty good. And then at the end, John was talking to his therapist, who revealed that she was the one who spent the night with Sherlock, not Culverton's daughter. And also, she was that bitch that John thought about cheating on Mary with. And she wasn't actually his therapist. And, surprise, surprise, big surprise is that she was actually Euros Holmes, the secret sister to Mycroft and Sherlock. And at the end, it kind of looked like she shot John, so... we're just going to have to see where we're going with this. This is really building up to be one hell of a finale, I will say. And I can only assume, too, that I don't know, like, I was a little too distraught to mention this last episode, which I was very distraught last episode, because it was a crazy, crazy twist at the end there. But, she did say that she left in another clue that Sherlock missed with the note, and when he looked at it, he revealed the words "miss me." So I'm just assuming that whole, we're going against Moriarty's contingency plans. Not really, it's just Euros now. Unless next season is going to be Moriarty's contingency plans. But no, unless she is Moriarty's contingency plan, which I guess is entirely possible, so... yeah, that's pretty much that. I guess the only other thing I can say is, if and when Sherlock comes back for a 5th season, I guess I'll be there for those 3 episodes. You can expect them. It'll become a current show, which just means that I'll be posting a reaction within a week of that episode airing. So, yeah. But that's in the unforeseeable future, I guess. For now, we have the final episode of Sherlock so far. So, yeah, we might as well go ahead and get right into this. Here we go.
Help me!
Hello, my name's Jim Moriarty.
What?
Welcome to the final problem.
What? How old is he? Well, if that is Euros. I don't know anymore. Okay, then. Is that him? Jeez. Oh, shit. Okay. I was gonna say, is there a gun, but a sword's good enough.
You can't have got out. You can't.
Got out? Oh shit, there's a clown too! Oh my god, Mycroft is gonna sword fight a clown. I just said that. Oh! It is a gun!
No use, man.
Aww.
There's no defense and nowhere to hide.
And you still have a blade!
Experiment complete.
Experiment.
I have a sister.
This was you?
Oh.
This was you?
There's a place for people like you, the desperate, the terrified, the ones with nowhere else to run.
Baker Street.
What place? 221B Baker Street. See you in the morning.
Euros.
Yeah.
Sister, I can't remember.
She was different from the beginning. She
Okay.
knew things she should never have known.
That one does look like
She was
Mycroft.
somehow aware of truth. Euros took Redbeard and locked him up, somewhere no one could find him. And she refused to say where he was.
Oh.
But she started calling him Drowned Redbeard, so we made our assumptions.
Jesus. God, this is turning into
Sherlock was
JoJo.
traumatized. But after that, he was different. So it changed. Never spoke of it again. In time, he seemed to forget that Euros had ever even existed.
Huh.
How could... This is where we trap them. Sharonford is more than a prison or an asylum. It is a fortress built to keep the rest of the world safe from what is inside it. Heaven may be a fantasy for the credulous and the afraid.
Chateau d'If,
I can
basically.
give you a map. Keep back. Keep as still as you can. What is it?
A grenade.
The motion sensor is activated. If any of us move, the grenade will detonate.
Oh, shit.
We'll certainly do. What about Mrs. Hudson?
Okay. Ah, dang it. Yeah, Mrs. Hudson is down there.
3, 2, 1.
Ugh! Oh god, they're jumping down, too. Oh! Oh my gosh, the entire flat. Oh! Oh.
My name's Sherlock Holmes.
What the hell are you doing here?
The pirate.
Whoa! What? Oh, because he's going to... He's going to the Chateau d'If.
Holding cell now.
Right, sir.
Is that Sherlock?
Unit deploy green and yellow shift on my authority.
Wait,
Sir.
that's Sherlock? That looked like Sherlock.
See, you should have been looking at the guy you just gave your pass to.
That's Mycroft. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. The other guy. That's Sherlock.
She kept suggesting to Dr. Taylor that he should kill his family.
And?
He said it was like an earworm. Couldn't get her out of his head.
And?
He left.
And?
Killed himself.
And?
His family.
Damn, man. So she's on the Kill Your Family show.
One question. That's your voice, isn't it?
Do you trust her?
You've got to stop saying these things.
If Eurus has enslaved you, then who exactly is in charge of this prison?
It's completely
Yeah.
inappropriate. I'm sorry.
No?
Very, very sorry.
Oh no. Oh crap.
Like this.
Oh! Discombobulate.
No. Stop me in a minute.
Stop me in a minute. Okay. That's how she originally got out. Ah, crap. Moriarty. So... He's just... He's back! Christmas Day. 5 years ago. Okay, thank you. Back when Mycroft had a bit more hair.
So what's mine?
Five minutes.
Redbeard.
You want to save the governor's wife? Choose either Dr. Watson or Mycroft to kill the governor.
Oh, God.
Okay, sorry, I can't do it.
Damn it.
It's alright.
Oh! Damn, man.
All right, there you go.
Does that count?
2 people are dead instead of 1.
2. Yeah, it doesn't count.
Sorry. Hang on.
Oh. 6 months ago, a man called Evans was murdered, unsolved, except by me. He was shot from a distance of 300 meters with this rifle.
But he got his eyes fixed. His hands were steady. He pulled the trigger. He killed Evans.
Are you ready to condemn the prisoner?
Sherlock, we can't do this.
Plain, remember?
Sherlock, are you ready?
Needs of the many.
Does it really make
Make a difference, killing the innocent instead of the guilty.
Let's see.
The train has left
Ah.
the station.
Don't let it distract you. Distract the soldiers today.
Yeah. You're all soldiers today. God, this one's intense. Take the rifle with you, just in case. Alrighty, room number 3. I already don't like it.
So who loves you?
That's...
I'm assuming it's not a long list.
I remember. Don't be ridiculous. Look at the coffin.
yeah.
Unmarried. Article about death. Alone.
Wait.
Molly.
Molly Hooper.
No!
Without asking why, just say these words.
What word?
I love you.
Leave me alone.
Molly, no, please, no, don't hang up. Do not hang up.
Calmly, Sherlock, or I will finish her right now.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you making fun of me?
No, it's not that. Come on.
I can't say why, but I promise you it is.
I can't say that. I can't say that to you.
Oh, come
You
on.
can't you? Why?
Because it's true. Because
Aw.
I love you.
Okay. Okay.
Look what you did to her. Look what you did to yourself. All those complicated little emotions. I lost count. Emotional context, Sherlock. It destroys you every time.
Now, please, pull yourself together. I need you at peak efficiency. The next one isn't going to be so easy.
Oh my god.
In your own time.
So that was just emotional torture. Oh! Oh!
We're experiencing science from the perspective of lab rats.
You gotta pull through.
Soldiers.
Soldiers. We're all soldiers today.
We're not actually going to discuss this, are we? I'm sorry, Dr. Watson. You're a fine man in many respects. Make your goodbyes and shoot him.
Damn.
Shoot him? What?
You are a little presumptuous.
Dr. Watson. Put this stupid little man out of all our misery. Shoot him.
Stop it.
Look at him. What is he? Nothing more than a distraction, a little scrap of ordinariness for you to impress.
Because, on balance, even your Lady Bracknell was more convincing. Nor in everything he just said. He's being kind. He's trying to make it easy for me to kill him.
Yeah, that's... I started to think that.
It's going to be so much.
A Christmas treat. 5 minutes conversation with Jim Moriarty 5 years ago.
5
did they
minutes.
discuss?
Unsupervised.
5 minutes is all they needed.
A moment ago, a brave man asked to be remembered. I'm remembering the governor. 10,
No, Sherlock.
Oh.
8,
It's the unexpected. It's a Moriarty move.
6,
Sherlock.
5.
Stop it at once.
Oh.
How long was I away?
Hours and hours.
Completely sure.
Hours and hours and she's still in the
Tell
air?
you what, you...
Bounce, Sherlock.
Oh no.
I know, small.
Redbeard.
Who's Redbeard?
Fucking
hello.
Dio.
At the front of...
His revenge, apparently, is me.
You're speak to the little girl who complained.
Yeah, she is the contingency.
So you told yourself a better story.
What?
We never had a dog.
Wait, what? Huh?
We played parts.
Oh, just a friend.
I was Yellowbeard and
I thought this was a fourth sibling.
you killed my best friend.
I never had a best friend. I had no one.
Damn, girl. That's how Minecraft got her locked away. Fumbling my words on Minecraft, I'm sorry.
I'm your brother. I'm here, Euros.
Okay, so that was her. Chains. Okay, it all worked out.
Just spoke to your brother.
He's not as strong as he thinks he is.
I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Greg.
Huh. Got it right for
Hey,
once.
helicopter ready?
You told us that our daughter was dead.
Better that than tell you what she had become.
Damn,
sorry.
man.
Whatever she became, whatever she is now, Mycroft, she remains our daughter.
And my sister.
Then you should have done better.
He did his best.
Then he's very limited.
Damn.
Where is she?
There is a last refuge for the desperate, the unloved, the persecuted. There is a final court of appeal for everyone.
They're fixing the place back up. Gotta put the bullet holes in.
The best and wisest men I have ever known. My Baker Street boys.
They actually got to visit her.
Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Holy crap. Netflix, don't make me watch Tiger King. I'm gonna let the credits play. Alright, full length, thanks for stopping by. If you want to watch my discussion on this episode of Sherlock, you can head back to the normal video at this time. See you guys there. And now it won't let me go back to the credits. Uh-oh. No, it wants me to watch Tiger King. I don't want to watch Tiger King. Are you kidding? No, goddamn it. Stop. Oh. Goddamn, Netflix really wants me to watch Tiger King. I don't want to. Dumb. Alright. Holy Toledo. That is the end of Sherlock. Well, there's no cliffhanger. There's no cliffhanger, so I suppose they could come back. They could come back, or they could just end it there, honestly. Alrighty. That is the end of Sherlock, as we know. As far as we know. It could come back. They could come back for a 5th season, definitely. You know, there's nothing in there that, you know, sort of tells you that this is over. But at the same time, it's not like it leaves in, you know, a huge it's not like it leaves in a huge cliffhanger where it's like, oh, you gotta come back for the next season. It's like, no, they can come back or they cannot come back. You know? Either way, it works out, so. Now, it does sort of work, because I think last episode we talked about the possibility of, you know, this secret sister, and how, you know, when Mycroft and Sherlock reminisce about their childhood, neither of them bring it up. Obviously, now we know why for Sherlock. And for Mycroft, it would just be, well, he didn't want to reminisce about it. But it's definitely, I don't know. I mean, the fact that Sherlock is older than Euros, it does, like, you know, allow itself to basically be... It still works with, like, what they were reminiscing about. Like, let me try to explain instead of just saying a bunch of random words like I am. So the thing with... when they were reminiscing is, you know, Mycroft would say, it's like, you know, we both thought you were an idiot until we met other children. And that's okay, sort of a haha moment, you know, because Mycroft is clearly, you know, he's far more, you know, intelligent than Sherlock is. But you have to wonder, it's like, okay, well, you know, Mycroft is saying that, but around the time Sherlock would have been, you know, getting smarter, you know, Euros would have been too. He just doesn't... Mycroft just, you know, obviously he doesn't reference it. So it's kind of interesting to sort of put that scene from... And that was like... Oh, what episode was that? That was a couple seasons back. That had to have been season 2, because I think that was the Moriarty episode. Or a Moriarty episode. Actually, I think that was the Reichenbach Fall. I think it was that episode, because that started with Moriarty on trial. So, yeah, that was definitely it. So, yeah, like, trying to put that scene into context of they have a sister. It's a little interesting, because on the one hand, it's like, well, you know, he never really thought that... Well, I guess it still sort of works, you know? Because, you know, at what age was Euros taken away? It was some age, you know? She was still very young, you know? And you also do have to consider that it's entirely possible. I think they even, you know, pretty much mention it in this, that, yeah, Euros is technically and was smarter than Sherlock. Sherlock is technically the dumbest of the family, or at least of the three of them, you know? So, I guess it still does sort of work, you know? Where, you know, yeah, Mycroft would have thought Sherlock was a complete idiot. Even, you know, he's more of an idiot than... He would have been more of an idiot than Euros, but, you know, Euros was terrifying to Mycroft. You know, she was just crazy. And so that's the thing, is I guess it still does work. And then, like, you know, Mycroft says, is that, you know, they both thought Sherlock was an idiot, and then they met other kids, you know, and haha, you know? And it always plays into the fact that Mycroft is a lot smarter than Sherlock, but Sherlock is the one that has to do this, you know? Which even Mycroft admits, you know, all this... As smart as Sherlock is, he applies himself as a detective, not, you know, with anything else, like Mycroft, you know? Mycroft, you would think he sort of does everything that he does for the betterment of society, you know? And he probably, you know, thinks... He probably, like, looks down on the fact that, you know, Sherlock became a detective with all the knowledge that he does have, now that Mycroft acknowledges it. So, yeah. It's interesting to, like, sort of put that into context, you know? Okay, so that was a really great episode. First off, I really like how much Mycroft was involved in this. You know, he obviously he gets taken out for the climax, which is fine, because the climax always comes down to Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, and, you know, our villain of the week. But I do like that Mycroft is in this episode a fair amount. The only thing is, again, he is not applying himself like Sherlock does. You know, it's the exact same thing. You know, Sherlock applies himself and his knowledge as a detective, and Mycroft doesn't. So even in these situations, Mycroft is just thinking, about the fact that he can't believe he's in this situation, instead of, it's like, okay, here's the puzzle. It's basically, Euros says, here's a puzzle. Sherlock immediately starts trying to solve the puzzle because that's what he does. He's a detective. Whereas Mycroft looks at it and is insulted that you just gave him a puzzle. Could he solve it? Yes. Does he want to? Fuck no. Why would he? Why would he want to do that? That's Sherlock's thing. Let him do that. But after a while, he did. I do like that he did apply himself a little bit. Like he applied himself where he needed to, and then at the final test number 4 with who to kill, he did apply himself, trying to get Sherlock to kill him. So that worked out. And it's also interesting that, well, I guess we can get to that in a sec. So, alright, we got notes, obviously. This is our final time for the foreseeable future of Sherlock notes. So, man, there's a part of me that's going to miss this show. I will say, before we really get into it, there's a part of me that's going to miss this show. I really love this show. It's really great. And, after I realized how long these episodes are, then I was able to properly prepare myself, get comfortable, get a nice tall glass of water and prepare for these. So, once I did that, then I was really all in on this show. I will say I will not miss the editing. Editing this show is very difficult, to cram, this episode, pretty much every episode is about 89 minutes. So to take 89 minutes worth of Sherlock footage and chop it down to 12 minutes is an incredibly difficult challenge. So I'm a little glad I don't have to do that again. But I will. It's always the thing with Sherlock is that I hate editing Sherlock, but I pretty much get over it as soon as I start watching because I really love watching the show. So I am going to miss watching the show, Anywho. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop right into the notes. The first thing I wrote down was the plane crash, which that was a really crazy way to start that, That was a crazy way to start that. It was a crazy way to start that is like, all right, some girl woke up on a plane, everyone's asleep, it's falling out of the sky, she answers a phone call, and it's Jim Moriarty, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? And it's like, all right, and go, and it's like, what's happening? So, I have to say, I like, and this I guess is sort of jumping ahead a little bit, I do really like that, I really like that they really stuck with Moriarty being dead, because that was 2 seasons ago at this point, and they have stuck to it. They stuck to the fact that that Moriarty is dead, and I appreciate that. And like how I was saying, it's like, oh, I guess we're not really going against Moriarty's contingency plan. It's like, well, actually, yeah, we are. Euros is his contingency plan, so that's kind of nice. I like that and I even like, the line that Euros says where it's like, well, Jim Moriarty, he didn't really like being alive because he knew he could cause so much more mayhem while he was dead, Like, that's really interesting, actually, that that it was actually, he would actually want to be dead. Like, that's pretty cool, actually. So, yeah. So, the plane crash, that was interesting. And just, having that throughout the whole episode. And really, we're getting very, very small bits of that. And it's like, okay, what does this have to do with anything? And then it's like, okay, it's not that it's anything, really. The plane crash is just a metaphor for Euros. How, like Sherlock says, like, she is high above, the entire world, but she doesn't know how to land, and there's no one there for her, So that's pretty interesting. I did like that. I wrote down the umbrella. That whole scene was really interesting. First off, the fact that Sherlock did that. I'm going to lean back a bit. I did not lean back through that whole episode because I was just so enraptured. But I'm going to lean back a bit. My back is killing me. So yeah, that whole scene was really funny. Just because of the fact that it was Sherlock that did it, you know? Because it just scares Mycroft to his core, basically. And through that, you know, it confirms to Sherlock that, you know, that he has a sister. It's good confirmation, basically. So that was funny. But the umbrella... So first off, when he grabbed the umbrella, I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's just a machine gun? Like it's the Penguin's umbrella or something. And then he takes the umbrella off and it's a sword. And it's like, oh, okay. It's a sword. Interesting. And then at a point when the clown shows up with his own sword, I'm like, oh my gosh, is Mycroft going to sword fight with a clown? Yes, I want this. But then he took the blade off, and it was a gun that didn't have any bullets. Like, what kind of umbrella is this? I want this umbrella that's a sword and a gun. And a functioning umbrella. Like, I want this thing. Like, this is some... It's like the Penguin or something like James Bond would have, you know? Like, that is just so cool. But it didn't really get used. Like, you know, when he realized it didn't have any bullets in the gun part, I wanted him to put the blade back on so he could, you know, sword fight. Because I want to see Mycroft sword fight a clown with an umbrella that became a sword. I wanted that and I didn't get it, you know? So that was just really cool that, you know, that he just has this. I assume all of his umbrellas are like that, by the way. That he doesn't actually have any normal umbrellas. He just has umbrellas that you can take the umbrella off and it's a sword, and then you can take the blade off and it's a gun. God, I want that so bad. That sounds so cool. Even if it's not like a functioning gun, just something, you know, if it's like a pea shooter or anything, I just want that. That's so cool. And so weird. You know it's a Sherlock episode when my voice starts to go. Anywho, I wrote down origins here. I actually need to get back into the episode a bit so that I can find this scene. I'll go ahead and turn the subtitles on. Skipping ahead. Okay. I did like that. Mycroft had to become the client. That was really funny. So,
If there's a queue, join it.
For God's sake, this is not one of your idiot cases.
You must close that window. There is an east wind coming.
Truth is rarely pure, never simple.
I don't know and I don't care. So there are three of us. I know that now. You, me, and Euros.
There's also two U's in Eurus.
Can't remember. Interesting name, Euros. It's Greek, isn't it?
Yeah, literally the god of the east wind.
Yes. The east wind is coming, Sherlock. You use that to scare me. No. You turned my sister into a ghost story.
Of course I didn't. I monitored you.
You what?
Memories can resurface. Wounds can reopen. The roads we walk have demons beneath. And yours have been waiting for a very long time. I never bullied you. I used at discrete intervals potential trigger words to update myself as to your mental condition. I was looking after you.
Why can't I remember her?
You know,
This is a private matter.
John stays.
This is fact.
You know what's interesting is that it's all Sherlock as to why he can't remember her. Like, you know, you kind of think like, oh shit, you know, he doesn't remember his own sister. I cannot say that today. I'm sorry. Mycroft, excuse me. Mycroft must have pulled every string in the fucking British government with some crazy ass machine or something to suppress the memories. No, it's just trauma. Trauma. Sherlock actually repressed his own memories. You know? And he's rightful to be, you know, pissed about it, but it's entirely in his mind, and Mycroft just went with it, you know? So, that's pretty interesting.
Professionally assessed more than once. I was remarkable. But Euros was described as an era-defining genius beyond Newton.
And why don't I remember her?
You do remember her, in a way. Every choice you've ever made, every path you've ever taken. The man you are today is your memory of Euros. She was different from the beginning. She knew things she should never have known.
I also like young Mycroft. First off, and okay, there's nothing on this kid actor, but I'm sure that this is the reason they cast him. He's a bit chubby, and I have to imagine that's the reference to the books, which they bring up in The Abominable Bride, that in the books Mycroft is supposed to be, you know, horribly obese. And that kid's not, you know, horribly obese. He's a bit chubby. And look, I'm not judging. Clearly, look at me, but I just think that's an interest. That has to be a reference. But other than that, he actually really does look like Mark Gatiss. So
As if she was somehow aware of truths beyond the normal scope.
You look funny, Bruno.
What's wrong?
Sorry. The memories are disturbing.
Examples?
They found her with a knife once. She seemed to be cutting herself, mother and father. They were terrified. They thought it was a suicide attempt. But when I asked Euros what she was doing, she said,
I wanted to see how my muscles worked.
Jesus.
so
I was about to say that, yeah.
Pain. She said,
Which one's pain?
What happened?
Musgrave. The ancestral home, where there was always honey for tea. Sherlock played among the funny gravestones.
Funny how?
They weren't real. The dates were all wrong. An architectural joke which fascinated Sherlock.
I'm stuck in me now. The east wind's blow. 16 by 6.
And under we go. You're starting to remember.
Fragments.
Redbeard?
He was my Don.
Redbeard had locked him up. Somewhere no one could find him. And she refused to say where he was.
Man, Mycroft even lied about that. Like, what the fuck? So, yeah. We get her origins, Euros' origins, which are... Jesus Christ, they're fucked up. But, I mean, it honestly, like... I don't want to say it, like, makes sense, but, like, you have to wonder if this would happen, you know? If someone was born and... or if someone had this level of intelligence, if it's not... I don't want to say, like, maintained, but if... But, like, you know, what would happen if they don't turn out... For a second, I thought the recording stopped. I panicked. If they don't turn out like Mycroft or Sherlock, you know, and even then, they are interesting folks. But yeah, that's the thing. What if one of them was crazy, basically? Which honestly is the whole thing with Moriarty. We are getting up there in recording time. So it's entirely possible that the footage will cut out at some point. So just be aware. We've had that happen once before on Sherlock. I think it was in the first episode, but that could happen. We'll see. So if it does, I'm just going to pause and then transfer the clips, and then we'll be right back, basically. So just know if the camera stops, that's why. So yeah, Euros' origins and just the whole thing with, I want to see how my muscles work. It's like, oh, Jesus. It's like, there's such a thing as an inquisitive mind, but Jesus, It's so crazy to think that these three, came from those two, parents who aren't like this. Like, okay, the mother is a brilliant mathematician, okay, but none of them, the two of them don't think like their children do, It's crazy to think about. But they do specifically say here that that she is the smartest of the three of them. So, yeah. I wrote down the patience grenade. Oh, that was terrifying. The patience grenade, which is motion... It has a motion sensor on it. And you have basically... It wasn't like 8 seconds. It was very quick, though. You had a few seconds to just run, And I like, because the cafe wasn't open because it was Sunday, and the only person you had to worry about was Mrs. Hudson, who must have been fine, where she was. And then the three of them just had to bolt, basically. Mycroft headed for the stairs while Sherlock and John jumped out the windows. So that was pretty crazy. That was really, really crazy. And it destroyed the flat to an extent. I was kind of wondering, like, oh my gosh, what if we're just done with the flat? And it's like, well, no. You can't have Sherlock Holmes without 221B Baker Street. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So the next thing, what was it called? Was it Sharon Grove? Was that it? All right. Well, first off, I love Mycroft being in disguise as the old sailor. I thought that was really funny. Sharonford. All right. Yeah, the actual place, Sharonford, which I wrote down the Chateau d'If from the Count of Monte Cristo. It's the same thing, basically, just modern. But yeah, so Sharonford, a very interesting place. So now this wouldn't. Well, I guess that's the thing. That's the thing, is that technically, what was I going to say? I've lost it all. I had a train of thought that went like 8 other places, and then I lost it. Oh, that's it. Moriarty. I was going to say, why wasn't Moriarty held here? But he never, was... He never, was completely convicted of a crime. Otherwise, he probably would have been sent there. I also like how they say, because I was kind of curious at first, I guess I had just forgotten how they sent Euros as a child to Sharonford. I was like, why would that... How did Mycroft do that? It's like, oh, wait. He did say it was their uncle Rudy Holmes, I guess. He must... what I can assume there is that... what I can only assume there is that they... Like, Rudy was basically like Mycroft is now, worked for the government and stuff. So... I guess, although they did mention another, like there were 2 house fires, weren't there?
In time, he seemed to forget the Duros had already existed.
How could he forget she was living in the same house?
Yeah.
They took her away. Why?
You don't lock up a child because a dog goes missing.
So,
Not a dog.
immediately afterwards.
The fire. R.I.P. Sherlock. Oh, the feeling of crayons. This fucked up little girl. Yeah, she burned the house.
After that, our sister had to be taken away.
Where?
Oh, some suitable place, or so everyone thought. Not suitable enough, however. She died there. She started another fire, one that she did not survive.
This is a lie.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lawnmower outside.
This is the story I told our parents to spare them further pain and to account for the absence of an identifiable body.
And no doubt to prevent their further interference.
That too, of course. The depth of Euros's psychosis and the extent of her abilities couldn't hope to be contained in any ordinary institution.
Yeah.
Uncle Rudy took care of things.
Where is she, Mycroft? Where's our sister?
There's a place.
The way he says that, it's almost like Uncle Rudy is not a thing. Not their Uncle Rudy, but I don't know. So yeah, so that was interesting. So the second fire was the first fire got her taken away. The second fire was the lie to tell the parents, which I mean, I don't know. You understand why Mycroft did that. Even Sherlock, at the end says, he did the best that he could. So, okay. I wrote down enslaved. That was interesting. That anyone who talks to Euros basically gets enslaved. She can reprogram them, which is pretty interesting. And that's why Mycroft specifically said no one can talk to her. And of course they tried. So, and that's how she took over basically, which is crazy. I wrote down the alliance. The alliance of Euros Holmes and James Moriarty. That was interesting because first off, they kind of made it look like, oh, he's actually here. And it's like, no, this is 5 years ago. He's dead. But man, oh man, the fact that they did do that, because that's the thing with Mycroft, like what was the thing a couple episodes or a couple seasons back, it's like he had to give up. It was the Reichenbach fall. It was when, it was basically like in order to get Moriarty to talk, Mycroft gave up a lot of information, a lot of personal information for Sherlock. And that's the thing is that, yeah, he does that sometimes. And for Euros, he occasionally will need her mind, to be useful. But in return, she needs to be given something, and she has very specific demands. And for that one, it was 5 minutes unsupervised with James Moriarty. 5 minutes. That is all she needed. That's all the two of them needed in order to do this, basically. So, that is pretty crazy. It just took 5 unsupervised minutes to pull this off. So, fucking Mycroft, you know? Like I guess you can understand why he does this, you know, it's for the betterment of Britain or whatever, you know, it's his job, but at the same time it's like, come on, man, you know? Like, that's the thing, is like, he takes these calculated risks, you know? He takes these risks, giving the information to Moriarty, using his sister's mind, you know? It's horrible. Horrible. I wrote down kill David. I believe that was the first test. Oh, that's right. The warden, basically. That one was interesting. So Sherlock couldn't kill him. He wasn't allowed to. So it was like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's give it to Mycroft. Say his friggin' name right. I don't know why today I'm having trouble, but I am. And there are people mowing their lawns. It's annoying. I can hear it. You can probably hear it too. Oh well. So yeah. Mycroft couldn't do it. John couldn't end up doing it. And David ended up killing himself, which wasn't, that wasn't the rules, so the wife ended up dying too. That sucked. I did like, however, throughout the 4 tests, that the prevailing thing is you have to be a soldier here, you know? You can't let things get to you right now. You can't be compromised, basically. You need to brave through this and do what you need to do in order, just as a soldier, basically. I did like that, you know? We had test number 2. What was test number 2? Oh, test number 2 was the guys. The 3 guys. Yeah, that's right. That one was interesting. And, she ended up killing all 3 of them anyway. Which I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. And all of this, is with the plane crash too. All of this, also has the plane crash that they only get little snippets of.
Can be told by the state of his fingernails and the fact that there's hair growing in his ears. So it's a superficial job then. But he got his eyes fixed, his hands were steady. He pulled the triggers. He killed Evans.
Are you ready to condemn the prisoner?
Sherlock, we can't do this. Plain, remember?
Yeah.
Sherlock, are you ready?
It's basically like a,
Alex.
Say it. Condemn him. Condemn him in the knowledge of what will happen to the man you name.
it's sort of a, greater good.
Condemn Alex Garrett.
Needs of the many, and then, yeah, those 2 end up dying.
You got the right one. Now, go through the door.
He dropped the other 2. Why?
Interesting.
Why?
Does it really make
Make a difference killing the innocent instead of the guilty.
Let's see.
The train has left the station.
No. That felt pretty much the same.
John, don't let it distract you.
Yeah.
Soldiers today.
You gotta be a soldier. Ugh. It really is all just mind games, and that one, really affected John. So, but the one that really affected Sherlock was test number 3, the coffin and Molly Hooper. And that one was pretty rough, forcing Molly to admit that she loves Sherlock. That was rough. Luckily, on the plus side, Molly didn't die, thankfully. But the negative side, I like this, that it was all emotional, torment, basically, for both Sherlock and Molly, you know? It's like it's more than just, well, you know, Euros killed Molly, you know? It's like, no, Sherlock hurt her, you know? Euros forced Sherlock to hurt her. That is sort of the thing with that one. So yeah, that one was pretty rough. And Molly, her voice sounded a bit different, didn't it? I don't know. Because Molly has a very distinctive voice, and I don't know, it just sounded a bit different. Oh, camera cut out. All right, I will be right back. Are we going to do the intermission joke? All right, but we'll do it quick. Alrighty, we are back. We are back with Sherlock. I knew it was going to happen. That I was going to run out of space, but that's all right. So yeah, we were talking about the coffin and Molly and how it was all like emotional torment, you know? It's like the fact that he had to do that to Molly, you know? That just sort of eats him up, you know? Because he does care about Molly, even if he doesn't, you know, return her feelings, you know? It does sort of eat at him, you know? That it eats at him because, you know, they are friends, you know? And isn't that crazy that they are friends, you know? How far Sherlock has come in this series, it's crazy. And then I wrote down the fourth test, which was the choice. Do you kill John Watson or do you kill Mycroft? I do like that, you know, it kind of seems like at first, like, oh, Mycroft, he's just trying to, you know, he's getting rid of John. And it's like, what the heck? And it's like, about halfway through that, I was like, wait a second. Mycroft knows what he's doing, you know? He's trying to have Sherlock kill him. And even Sherlock knew that. And then Sherlock decided, no, I'm going to kill me. Although I do like the line Mycroft saying is like, not the face. I promised my brain to science, you know? So that was kind of funny. But yeah, so Sherlock decided he was going to pull a Moriarty, which Euros had not, you know, thought would happen. She even said, you know, Moriarty predicted that Sherlock would choose to kill Mycroft. So yeah, he threw in a curveball there, which kind of was, yeah, that is pulling a Moriarty. Honestly, it's throwing a curveball, you know? So I did really like that. And then I wrote down Redbeard, who was not a dog. Redbeard was actually Victor, Sherlock's best friend as a child, that Euros killed. Euros drowned him. And that was another thing that Sherlock repressed from his memories. So, yeah, that was crazy. That was really crazy. The twist that it was actually his best friend. And the reason that Euros did this was because she was alone. She wanted... I honestly, she wanted her brother. And her brother never played, you know? And it makes sense because the two of them are so close in age, you know? Mycroft said there was only a 1-year gap between the two of them. Which is actually funny because he also says there's a 7-year gap between him and Sherlock. There's also a 7-year gap between me and my brother, my older brother. So perhaps I have a secret younger sister. Nah. Because I'm not Sherlock Holmes. But yeah. So that was pretty crazy. I feel like there was something else I was going to say about that, but let me go back.
You are upset, so you told yourself a better story.
Yeah. That it was a dog, not...
We never had a dog.
Oh. See, at first, I was like, is it a fourth sibling? And I was like, that'd be crazy. If there was actually a fourth one, you know? But no, it was just Sherlock's friend. Which lines up with, you know, I bet that's why, you know, Mycroft says, like, oh, you know, we both thought you were an idiot until we met other children. I bet that's Victor, you know?
Now it's coming.
Victor Trevor.
We played pirates.
So he was Redbeard.
I was Yellowbeard and he was...
Yeah.
He was Redbeard.
You were inseparable, but I wanted to play too.
Oh God. What did you do?
I am lost. Oh, who will find me deep down below the ocean?
Please let me out. Please, someone help me, please.
She killed him.
Deep water, Sherlock, all your life.
Yeah.
In all your dreams. Deep waters.
You killed him. You killed my best friend.
I never had a best friend. I had no one.
And so she was gonna do it again. She was gonna do it again with John. John's the new Victor, honestly. I mean, it makes you think, you know. It makes you think if Sherlock played with her, maybe she would have turned out like him, you know? It's like the final nail in the coffin is that she was alone. Which, you know, it's one thing where it's like, okay, well, is that really the reason all this happens? But it's like, well, you got to think back to, you know, the reason all this started. She was a child, and to a child, that is it's pretty rough, you know. If she had no one, just her own curiosity, which Mycroft was always saying, you know, her curiosity was dangerous, pretty much, you know. And eventually, she tried to burn the house down. She got taken away, and she festered, basically, in this until the day she met James Moriarty. Damn. That is so crazy, man. Okay. And then, at the end, the parents are allowed to see her, and Sherlock will go and see her, but she's still locked away. And I do like the message from Mary at the end.
P.S. I know you two, and if I'm gone, I know what you could become. Because I know who you really are. A junkie who solves crimes to get high. And the doctor who never came home from the war.
Yeah.
Will you listen to me? Who you really are, it doesn't matter. It's all about the legend, the stories, the adventures. There is a last refuge for the desperate, the unloved, the persecuted. There is a final court of appeal for everyone.
it basically
When life gets too strange,
puts the two of them back on the path.
too frightening, there is always one.
Puts them
last
back to normal.
When all else fails, there are two men sitting arguing in a scruffy flat. Like they've always been there, and they always will. The best and wisest men I have ever known. My Baker Street boys. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Okay. I do like that PS at the end from Mary. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, this one, not a lot of Mary in this one. So I do like that at the end. You know, it sort of sets the two of them back to who they are, you know? Which, yeah, you know, when she says, like, I know what you could become if I'm not there. Yeah, they could really lose their way, you know? And for Sherlock, that could end up being Euros, but they just need each other, man. They need each other. Well, and they need Mrs. Hudson and Lestrade and Molly, you know? They need all of them. So they should be back on the straight path. And if we ever return for season 5, I would be really happy to get into those cases, whatever they are. Because, yeah, I mean, we haven't had that in a while. I mean, season 3 was a lot like that, but this season is more on the characters than ever, you know? Because even, like, you know, and I sort of said that about season 3 as well, but the thing is, with season 3, you start season 3, which I'm going to have to look at it again. Hold up. Season 3, where we had, you know, we had the empty hearse, which was everything about Sherlock coming back to life and stuff. The Sign of 3, which was about, you know, John and Mary's wedding, but was also about, had cases within it that ended up leading to the climax of that episode. And then His Last Vow, which was a pretty, you know, standard, you know, case story, is just, you know, the magnitude of it because of Magnuson. And then Abominable Bride, which was all in Sherlock's head anyway. But yeah, season 4 has really just been on the characters, you know? It's like, okay, yes, we have the Six Snatchers, where, okay, everything about, you know, Toby and who betrayed, you know, the team and stuff. His name was Toby, wasn't it? That doesn't sound right. The guy and the team and who betrayed them, okay, we had that, but it was mostly about Mary. And last episode, which, like, okay, we have Culverton and Smith, but it's more about Sherlock and John. And this time it was a lot about the Holmes family. So if we come back for a 5th season, I have to assume that we're going to be getting back on more standard cases, which honestly I'm open for. So I hope they come back for a 5th season. I really do hope so. And I hope they can keep going as long as they can. I mean, at some point, the two of them are going to start to look... they're going to start aging a bit, because when did this start? Was this 2010? I have no idea. Like, when was the first episode, you know? Ooh, can I look at details? No. Oh, well. But yeah, like I don't know when this started. Maybe not 2010. Oh, but maybe, because that's when... Because you guys have always said that, you know, Matt Smith auditioned for John Watson, but they said he was too... what's the word? I guess too extravagant. And so they kept him in mind for the Doctor. Well, that was 2010, so has it been 10 years? But I mean, honestly, it's like, the two of them still look pretty good, so I could still see them doing it if they come back. And I hope they come back. I hope they come back for another season. Luckily, they do also say in the show that time does pass. So Sherlock and Watson are supposed to age. So I hope they come back for a 5th season. If they do, I will be right there with it, and we're going to have a great time. But this was a really great episode. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I am hopeful that they will return. But that is pretty much it. Just as a quick note, we're not going to be replacing with Sherlock. We're not going to be replacing Sherlock with anything for right now. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Just going to be Death Note on Sundays through the end of Death Note. And then I'm actually going to be starting something a little different. But it'll be interesting, and we'll get more into that when we get to that. But yeah, so we're going to take a little break. Just Death Note on Sundays for right now. But yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Sherlock reactions, rewatch them all from episode 1, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.